Robert Saleh's defensive scheme is absolutely diabolical, and it's going to take the Tennessee Titans to the next level. I'm going to show you what I saw on tape in today's film breakdown from Tic Tac Titans. Fans, welcome into another film breakdown from Tic Tac Titans, your home for Tennessee Titans X's and O's. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. 27 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. I've covered the team for USA Today, Sports Illustrated, and I'm a certified film junkie who's hosted the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast, Locked On Titans, for 7 seasons. In today's film breakdown, we are going to take a look at the defensive scheme of Robert Saleh. I'm going to talk about the origins of the scheme, which come from the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks, cover 3. I'm going to talk about how he's modernized his scheme with coverage disguises and cover 4 match. Also, we're going to talk about all the different things he does up front on the defensive line with twists and stunts. And we're going to look at some key positions within the defense when we look at the run defense. Before we dive into all of it, do want to thank you for making Tic Tac Titans your home for Tennessee Titans X's and O's. Remember, year-round free film content on your favorite team. If you want to be the smartest Tennessee Titans fan you could possibly be, make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. Before we dive in, though, make sure that you throw a thumbs up on the video, throw a Titan up down in the chat, and as we always do, let's step into the film room. Again, the basis of Robert Saleh's scheme on defense is cover 3. Now, how he deploys the cover 3 can change, like we see right here. My favorite coverage, this is my favorite defensive coverage in the book out of all of them. It is a cover 3 buzz. So what you're going to have is a 2-high safety look, which doesn't alert the offense to what kind of coverage it's going to be. But what they're going to do is they're going to roll one safety down. This is going to be deep middle right here. Okay, you're going to have deep third outside right here. Another deep third outside right here. You're going to have 2 hook curl defenders out here. And then inside, you're going to have 2 hook defenders right here. But what Robert Saleh does with this coverage and why it's called a buzz coverage is because one of the deep safeties rolls down to be the other hook defender. I love this coverage. It can confuse offenses. You get a safety in the middle of the field to read the quarterback's eyes. Excellent coverage right there, and we see it a ton from Robert Saleh all over the tape. Remember, he comes from the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks, where cover 3 was everything, but he has evolved that and modernized that scheme to be more complex. What we're going to see here is a more traditional version of cover 3 without the rolled safety. You're going to have your deep middle right here. You have deep third right here, and then you're going to have deep third right here. And oftentimes what will happen in these cover 3 coverages, if you have, field side is this way, you're on the boundary, this is going to turn into man coverage essentially if he pushes vertically, and that's exactly what happens on this play. But regardless, again, deep third here, deep middle here, deep third here. You're going to have your curl flat defenders right here, traditional look with both defensive backs. You're going to have your 2 inside hook defenders, which are typically linebackers, all right? And again, just classic cover 3, which is what Robert Saleh's entire scheme is built on. We see it here. This middle hook guy takes away this. Both of these guys have their eyes here. Got your hook right here. Your deep middle watching for anything deep. He's watching for anything vertical right here on a deep third. This is turned into man because the wide receiver pushed vertically this way. And Sam Darnold really has nowhere to go. He tries to force it in, and it's almost intercepted by number 2. That's great defense right there. And again, right there because he's condensed, okay? There's not as much room out here to get beat. He's going to say, all right, I know I got this guy over top right here. I'm going to play a little bit underneath him. So different techniques, different responsibilities within the coverage based on the alignment from the defense. But this is as pure of an example as you can find of what Robert Saleh's defense is based on. Those 2 back-to-back reps of cover 3 and a traditional alignment and cover 3 rolled with a buzz. Now that we understand the basic structure of what Robert Saleh's defense can look like, we had a 2-high look where a safety rolled down, cover 3. We had a single high look where it was just traditional setup of a cover 3. But now look at the Arizona Cardinals offense here. Okay, they are condensed right here. And that's going to condense the defense as well. We're going to get traditional cover 3. This deep safety right here is going to float back into deep middle. You have deep third right here. And then again, the traditional setup of curl flat, and then 2 hooks over the middle. But what the Cardinals are going to do is they're going to run a crossing route with both of their outsides. And watch how the outside cornerbacks pass this off, okay? They're just going to pass it off and be smart and understand, hey, the guy may be leaving my zone right now. Look, zero's going with him. And as we'll see with a lot of these coverages, they turn into match concepts where as the routes declare, it becomes man coverage because you don't want to leave guys wide open in zones. But this wide receiver going here, and the cornerbacks just pass it off. Okay, I'm going to take this guy coming my way. The deep middle is watching for anybody who breaks free. And then you have your 4 underneath defenders right here who are looking for anything short. Back coming out, tight end right here. This guy's releasing. So this is just great fundamental defense and execution of a cover 3. Kyler Murray has to look for something. There's nothing there. Starts to scramble around. Pass rush gets on him and ultimately has to be a throwaway. Here's another example as a reminder of what Robert Saleh can do with the cover 3. We saw a couple of reps where you had a single high safety in the back that can alert the offense, but again, he'll run this out of 2 high safety looks. So you have 2 safeties here, and right now, is this going to be cover 4? Because you have a 2 high safety look, could it potentially be a cover 2 right there? No, what it's going to be is rolled cover 3 with a buzz defender. So you're going to have deep third. This safety is going to go back into the deep third right here. This high safety is going to roll down into the middle of the field right here. You got another hook right here. And again, your curl flat defenders going out to the outside. This is my favorite coverage in football, and Robert Saleh execute. Now look, what I want to show you is a little wrinkle here. Look how this safety creeps up. Okay, he's trying to confuse the quarterback. Who is going to roll? Yeah, Robert Saleh runs a ton of rolled cover 3. It's probably not going to surprise an offense to see that happens. But which safety is it that's actually going to come into the middle of the field? And you can tell that it confuses Kyler Murray on this play because he thinks that there's going to be a window right here. If this guy is going to fly out and this guy is going to maybe potentially push this way because this is the deep middle, this safety's coming down, he'll probably be too late to get to this player right here. But Kyler Murray was confused about which safety was actually rolling. So when it's this safety who stays deep and then this safety that comes in, this safety can pick up this crossing route right here from the tight end, and these 2 guys are going to be able to sit and take away this inside route right here. Murray tries to fit it in and it's simply not there. Bam. And Fred Warner, man, what a player. Watching this film to get ready for this video, Fred Warner, just what an incredible player. But again, he thought there would be a bigger gap there. There isn't. Easy incompletion and almost a turnover. Here's another cover 3 look right here, but what I want you guys to focus on is how it's 4 flat up top. Right now, 4 flat right here. Not 2 high, not single high, just 4 flat. Who's it going to be? Who's going to do what? Who's going to drop? You don't know. So Robert Saleh has taken that Legion of Boom cover 3 defense from the Seattle Seahawks that was just, hey, we're going to line up and show you. We got Earl Thomas back deep as the post safety. We got Cam Chancellor in the box. We got Richard Sherman outside, Brandon Browner outside. We're running cover 3 and you know it. Robert Saleh has taken those concepts and modernized it and disguised his coverages, and we're going to talk about the cover 4 here in a second. But again, this is a modern version of that, and you can see how they turn it into just regular cover 3 here, but they're very confusing with how they do it. So this guy dropping back into middle third, deep outside. This safety stays down, okay? And since there's a blitz on, this guy's going to be over here as a curl flat. So you're having 3 over, 2 under because there's a blitz coming in, and we'll talk about blitzes and stunts that Robert Saleh has mixed in to this defensive scheme as well. But it just shows you the variety of alignments, the variety of ways, the different ways you can play coverage and technique, all within this cover 3 scheme. Nothing there, incompletion. Sam Darnold's looking for something, the blitz gets on him, he gets panicked, and there it is. Here is where the modernization really comes in for Robert Saleh's scheme when he gets into cover 4. Remember, the Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks basically strictly cover 3, but Robert Saleh has mixed in more cover 4. And what I like about cover 4 and why cover 4 has been so popular in the NFL as of late is because of the match principles that you can put into it. I think Nick Saban really popularized this stuff when he was at Alabama as well. But cover 4 coverage, just generally speaking, means that the field is split up into 4 quarters. You have a outside quarter here, you have a middle quarter here, you have a middle quarter here, and an outside quarter here. Now, if you have 4 guys over, that means you're only going to have 3 guys under. You're going to have a curl flat here, a curl flat here, and then you have your middle hook defender. All right, this right here is classic cover 4. This is as traditional of cover 4 as you're going to find in the NFL. And watch how it turns into a match coverage as the routes declare. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when I say that. So boom, right here, all right? You have your 4 quarters. Bang, 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 bang. This right here is a vertical route, and then you have a crossing route right here. Tight end is sitting down right here. You got a flat route from the tight end here, and the running back is out here. Well, this is a zone coverage, but it is going to become somewhat of man coverage because this safety, number 6, Malik Mustafa, who has this quarter right here, okay, now that he sees this crosser, he's going to pick it up in man. And both of these guys see this vertical route, and they're going to both go with it. And then he is going to attach here. This linebacker is going to attach here, and he's going to attach here. So it's zone coverage. It's zone coverage. Make no mistake about it. But it turns into man. That is called cover 4 match because you're in cover 4, but as the routes declare, you match to the routes. It's brilliant, it's incredible, and it's one of the most popular coverages in the NFL, and Robert Saleh has modernized his version of Legion of Boom cover 3 to add this in a significant way. And there it is. And look, and because of that, this would be wide open if not for the backside quarter matching. It would be wide open on the crosser. Now, the pressure gets here, so no big deal. But this would be wide, and teams attack cover 4 in this way because they think if I run this vertical route, I'm going to open up all this room over here. But if the backside safety stays with the crosser, there's nowhere to go. Wonderful coverage, incredible stuff from Robert Saleh's scheme. We're going to get to the twists and the stunts that Robert Saleh likes to do up front, but I wanted to give you just a little bit of an appetizer on this play. Watch how the twist happens up front. So you're going to get twist here, and then another come in, and it's going to turn into a loop around. This is a great example of what Saleh likes to do with his front. And this is why it's so important to have quick penetrators. Everybody's mad at me this week because I'm saying that T'Vondre Sweat doesn't fit, but this type of stuff, you need quick penetrators on the defensive line to make this happen. So slant inside, and a little loop around from your defensive tackle. You're going to need 2 guys up front that can do stuff like that, Jeffrey Simmons, and I'm looking at a guy like John Franklin Myers. I'm looking at a guy like bringing back Sebastian Joseph Day. You could even bring back a guy like Jihad Ward, but do you see how both these guys come in? But then he is coming in to block him, which allows him room to get through here and get to the loop. And then you want one wide defensive end right here, a speed guy who can pull this tackle all the way out and give you the advantage that you need. Bam. Pressure gets there, both guys in his face, and it's a sack. 3rd and long in the red zone, another traditional example of cover 4. You have your quarter right here, and what you'll notice is on the backside, see, this is the field side because there's more field this way. This is the boundary side because it's closer to the boundary. Boundary side quarter usually plays man coverage. The Titans, at least under Denard Wilson, and I've seen Robert Saleh do this a little bit as well. Whatever this guy wants to do, if he crosses, he does whatever, you're going to turn that into man coverage right there. That's not what happens on this one, but just giving you examples of what can happen in this coverage and the different techniques that you can use. But quarter, curl flat, hook defender. Okay? Standard cover 4 in the red zone. And again, this is meant to take away any kind of exotic route combinations that are going to confuse you, like the crossing routes that can open up. It's going to, when you have 4 guys back deep and only 3 underneath, you're going to encourage teams to throw it down short. And again, this is 3rd and long in the red zone, and Kyler Murray has nowhere to go because this guy is here, this guy and this guy is here. This guy and this guy is right here, right there. Where are you going to go? He's going to dump it off to his back. Linebacker is going to rally, make the tackle. You just forced a field goal on third down in the red zone. Defensive win. Another example right here of cover 4 match and how it can work. You have your quarter right here. Your curls, curl flat, and then your hook curl right here with your linebacker. All right, and what's going to happen is you're going to see a crossing route from the tight end, and you're going to see a vertical route right here. But once again, the backside safety abandons his quarter on purpose to cover the crosser. And even though both of these guys go with the vertical route, which in theory could open up a massive hole right here, because this guy matches the crossing route, it's not there. Now, you got to be careful, because what you could do is you could run a backside post right here, and because this quarter guy abandoned it, this could be open if the cornerback isn't sitting on a deeper route and plays it too short. That's the chess match of the NFL, but in this example against the Cleveland Browns, it works to perfection. There it is. Look, here's the backside safety connecting to the crossing route as both of these guys take the vertical route, so he can't win inside or outside. Nowhere to go. You get your curl flat guy who flies out to match to the running back in the flat. You get your hook curl inside guy to come right here. He dumps it off to the running back and ends up getting his players smashed. Bam! What a big time hit. And look at my guy Stone Cold Saleh right here, fired up on the sideline after a hit like that. Let's go, baby. Before we move on totally from the 2 zone defenses that Robert Saleh uses the most, I want to show you a couple of other ones that he'll mix in rare vase. We see a cover 6 right here. So this is going to be quarter on this side. Okay, think about the field split in half right here. So you got quarter on one side, basically cover 4 with your curl flat right there. You're going to have your mid-zone defender right there. But on the other side, you're going to have cover 2. Cover 4 on one side, cover 2 on the other side, cover 6. There you go. Or quarter, half is what people will call it, things like that. But you're going to have this safety, boundary safety right here, is going to play a dropped flat right there. It's not quite a hard flat. He's going to drop to be underneath a vertical route, but that's a flat right there. And then you got your hook curl right here, or if, it's on boundary side, you could have him just be, or the curl flat, you could have him just be a hook curl right there. Depends on what the defensive coordinator wants to do. But this is an exotic coverage that Robert Saleh doesn't run a ton of, but this is late in the game. It's a very long down and distance situation, and you can see it play out here. Quarter, cover 2, deep half right here. Curl flat, hook defender. He doesn't run this a ton, but it's in here if he needs it. Nowhere to go for Penix, takes pressure, bad throw, we're out of town. Again, another non-traditional coverage that Robert Saleh can mix in here. We saw cover 3, we saw cover 4, and the different ways to do it. We just saw a quarter, half, a cover 6. But here what he does is he runs a Tampa 2 coverage. Now, Tampa Bay Buccaneers made this famous because they would have 2 safeties playing deep halves like a normal cover 2. And what they would do is, instead of having 2 hook defenders over the middle here, they would drop one of those hook defenders deeper into this middle zone, because when you're running cover 2 and you have 2 split safeties taking the deep half, one of the big target areas is right down the middle right here. So the way teams adjusted and defenses adjusted to take that away is by having one of their hook guys drop deeper into that middle honey hole to take it away. Well, Robert Saleh does this, runs Tampa 2 here, but in a super awesome way. So he's showing a single high look like it's going to be cover 3, okay, which is his most used coverage. Boom. But what he's going to do is he's going to run an inverted version of Tampa 2. So these 2 outside guys are actually going to drop back and be the deep halves, okay? This deep safety in the post safety look is going to drop down into the middle of the field and take away that honey hole. Then you're going to have your classic hook, and then you're going to have your curl flats. right here. So this is just standard Tampa 2 cover 2 defense, but the alignment and the way they get to it is super exotic. And again, cover 3 and cover 4 are Robert Saleh's most traditional coverages in his scheme, but he has other things that he can go to confuse offenses if he needs it. And that's exactly what happens right here. So look at the safety in the post alignment, comes down. Look at the 2 outside guys fly back to get into their deep halves, and it confuses Sam Darnold. So look, typically, this would be open against this defensive coverage, okay? This would be open, but because you have your honey hole defender right here, it's not there. There's nowhere to go. So it calls a perfect coverage to take away what Seattle is looking for on this play. Darnold has to get out, throw it away, knocked away, no gain, big time play. Let's get into some blitzes and some stunts. So one thing that I was surprised about when I was studying Robert Saleh's defense is just how much he actually mugs the line of scrimmage. I did not realize how often he did that. And again, he has modernized his defensive scheme away from just the classic Legion of Boom Seattle Seahawks to, be more disguise heavy, to be more complex at the line of scrimmage. So he's going to double mug the line of scrimmage. When you have 6 guys on the line of scrimmage with both the linebackers up in the A gaps, that's called a double mug, okay? But they're going to drop out into zones, and then what you're going to have is a little TT twist. So these 2 defensive tackles are going to do a twist stunt in the middle. Now, one thing that Robert Saleh really likes to do is these wide defensive, look how wide the defensive ends are. And what that's going to do is that's going to pull the offensive tackles out wide, and it's going to create more gaps on the interior. So when this twist stunt is run, these wide alignments are going to force the quarterback to come up inside right into the twist stunt of the defensive tackles. Atlanta even leaves a guy in to make it 4-on-2, and it doesn't matter. Boom. You see the twist right there? Bam. We're twisting. The wide defensive lineman. Look at 95 pulls those guys this way. They got to double team him, and it allows 98 to slide off and get to the quarterback. Double mug alignment, exotic look on the line of scrimmage, but a TT stunt up front to get the job done. In my opinion, based on what I've seen from the tape, I think that Robert Saleh's general idea is I want to widen things out to create space in the middle, like I just talked to you. Look, you have a linebacker all the way lined up out here outside an already wide defensive end in Nick Bosa. You have Fred Warner right here, man up. And one thing that I saw from Saleh a lot is he likes to put 5 guys on the line of scrimmage in passing situations to create matchup problems. Each individual offensive lineman has to account for one of those 5 guys, and it doesn't make it clear on the offensive line who's going to get help, where are we going to slide, who's going to, where are you going to slide right now? You got here, who's getting double teamed? Where can we slide to? It's such a wide line of scrimmage right there that it makes it difficult. And what we're going to see from Nick Bosa is he's going to do a little loop stunt inside, and because of the width of the line of scrimmage in the front, that creates more avenues inside to get to the quarterback. And if you know football, then you know that the best way to pressure a quarterback is interior pressure, not from the edge. Now, what I want you to see is the path that these guys take. All right, so he is going to slant this way, which should cross the face of the center and require the center to pick him up. Fred Warner is going to come out this way into this gap, which should require this player to pick him up. They're going to blitz right here, which should make the running back take him. So what's left? It's this tackle right here against Joey Bosa. And if Joey Bosa is looping inside, do you think that this offensive tackle right here is going to be able to stay with him athletically? The answer is no. Boom. And look, they try to pass it off. Gray Zabel, Charles Cross try to pass it off here. But at the end of the day, Bosa is too good of an athlete. And look, running back has to pick him up, so he can't help. And Bosa gets a clear lane. Boom. Smash. Crazy that this ended up being caught, but it's 3rd down. Drive is over. Great job right there. Great twist stunt and a loop from Joey Bosa. It's Nick Bosa, but whatever. You guys get the gist. Again, we see another stunt right here with a couple of blitzes added in, and look how wide they have this. And look how wide they have Kyle Pitts out here to try to help because of how wide it gets. You're just extending the offensive line and creating more gaps up the middle. So you're going to have this linebacker right here, and he's going to drop out. And when he drops out, this interior offensive lineman thinks, okay, I can go help this way. This offensive tackle is going to come out to this wide defensive end, and you're going to see a blitzing defensive back come through here into this gap. And notice here, this guy doesn't just rush straight out so that the center right here and this guy can peel off. He slants this way to make sure that he occupies this player, which again creates that avenue. So it's purposeful how he slants here, and then you got another little twist stunt right here on this side as well. So 95 shoots out at the offensive tackle. That allows 98 to come up in here. The running back, again, the running back is responsible for that guy. Look at him looking over here, okay? Because they think, oh, we got 4 guys over here, we got 2 here, we're going to slide the protection this direction. This is where our attention has to go. So when the twist stunt happens and this linebacker comes off the edge, running back has to come over here, wide alignment defensive end, tackle has to take him, and here comes Chase Lucas, the blitzing DB, free run. This is just diabolical stuff from Robert Saleh. Bam! Hits him. Great play right there. Gets me fired up, man. Another 5-man alignment. I told you, Robert Saleh rarely on passing downs, especially 3rd and long situations where you know that they're throwing it and they got to get yards. Rarely is he just going to put 4 guys on the line of scrimmage. He wants to confuse the blocking assignments, put 5 guys on so you don't know where to slide, you don't know who's going to have who, and you don't know if you're going to be able to double team. And what you're going to see is a little bit of a loop stunt here from 47, Bryce Huff. And remember, this guy is lined up on this side of the center, but he is going to go this way so that the center has to take him. And this guy's going to fire out this way to try to occupy the tackle and pull the attention of the guard as this guy slides inside on the loop stunt. The Titans need a speed rusher for sure. I mean, they got to be big enough to play against the run, but a speed rusher in these situations, look how he loops in. Defensive tackle takes both of these guys. Linebacker takes the tackle, and there you go. Loop stunt, free to the quarterback. Turns into an interception because the pressure gets to Bryce Young. He's got to get rid of it. Interception. That's what we're looking for. Now, here's a traditional 4-man line, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we saw with the very first rep, what we're going to see is a little twist stunt in the middle, a TT twist with the defensive tackles. And look how wide the edge rushers are. They're so wide, okay, that wide 9 technique, that the tackles have to jump set out and get extended. And now it's 3-on-2 in here. And if you can run a little bit of a pick, screen, loop around by 98, free reign. Imagine Jeffrey Simmons being this 98. Imagine that, okay? He's about to go nuts, man. Gets held and still there. And look, the edge rushers, because they're so wide, Kyler Murray, you have 2 choices. Either you step up and 98 is going to eat your lunch, or you stay deep and the wide edge rushers are going to beat your tackles to the spot. You choose, buddy. Pushes him up, 98 gets back up, 47 makes the sack. I mean, the wide 9 alignment, so critical to what Robert Saleh does on defense. Our final stunt right here against the Browns, another 4-man alignment. I want to show you guys as much variety as I can. You're going to have these 2 guys slant inside, and then you're going to have this guy loop around all of them. Just so many different things that Robert Saleh will do up front. He pushes in right there. He pushes in right there, and this ensures that this tackle is going to stay with him, and 75 can't get out to change, and then this guy's going to loop around. 56 and 95. Both loop out. Tackle goes with him. 75 stays with the edge. Defensive tackle up the gut. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Sack. Ball game. Later in the season, one of the misconceptions that I had because of when I studied the tape of Robert Saleh's defense when the Titans played San Francisco late in the year is that he was not willing to put more guys on the line of scrimmage than 4. And I realize now after going through a season of tape that actually was more about the San Francisco 49ers not having any linebackers by the end of the season. So of course he's going to play more nickel with 5 defensive backs when he trusts his defensive backs more than he trusts his 5th, 6th, 7th linebacker. But when San Francisco was healthy early in the year and they had a full group of linebackers, they did a lot more 5 men on the line of scrimmage. And more than what happens in the play, I want to talk about base alignment here. This linebacker, which is Luke Gifford, who played for the Tennessee Titans for quite some time, is more of a special teams guy. But Luke Gifford right here is what you would consider a Sam linebacker. So this is a Sam linebacker who can be back as a linebacker or get on the line of scrimmage in an under front. You have your 5 tech defensive end. You have your 1 tech. You have your 3 tech right here. You have another defensive end on the backside. You have your will linebacker, which I think would be Cedric Gray. And then you have your Mike linebacker right here, which James Williams, I don't think Cody Barton's skill set fits, but if the Titans were to draft an Arvell Reese or something like that, I think he could play this Sam pretty well. If not, and they go for more traditional defensive ends, and for, like say they get Reuben Bain and they sign Trey Hendrickson, you'd have Bain right here, Hendrickson right here, Cedric Gray right here, maybe Tavondre Sweat right here, Jeffrey Simmons right here, let's say James Williams right here, and then this would be Femi Oladejo, okay? But this is the traditional 4-3 alignment. You have, again, your Will, your Mike, and your Sam. That's what the linebackers look like, and your Sam linebacker is a guy who can function as an edge or as an off-ball linebacker in a traditional 4-3 alignment. Wanted to point that out to you guys, more important than the play. But again, Robert Saleh's defense wants to play wide to open up gaps up front. Arizona runs a traditional duo run play right here. Titans ran this all the time this year. Double team here, and it creates a one-on-one with this defensive tackle. And this is why Robert Saleh depends on 1 gap interior penetrators, not big-bodied guys who hold up against double teams. He wants everybody to be a penetrator. 93 makes a quick move right here, gets into the backfield, disrupts the play. Running back bounces out, but it's too late. Swarm. We're there. So wanted to show you guys just that basic alignment of Robert Saleh's base 4-3 defense with a Sam linebacker. Now, the other primary personnel group that Robert Saleh uses is big nickel, 4-2-5. And what that is 3 safeties out on the field. 1 safety here, and the other safety is right here. And in this big nickel package, you have 3 safeties, and one of those safeties is basically functioning as the slot cornerback. And the Titans have done this in the past. If you remember back to 2020 or 2021, whatever was Elijah Molden's rookie year with the Titans would use Elijah Molden as their slot cornerback on early downs because he was a good blitzer, he was a physical tackler, but then they would bring Buster Screen on the field to be their nickel on passing downs because Screen was a better coverage guy than Elijah Molden. And Robert Saleh did a ton of that. He would have 3 safeties, whether it be Mustafa, Jair Brown, and Jason Pinnock in the game on early downs, and then he would bring in a guy like Chase Lucas, for example, as a slot cornerback on passing downs. But here, this is a big nickel package, and they have their will linebacker out here on the edge, wide alignment defensive end here, Mike linebacker, and you'll see this guy start to creep in. But what I want to show you outside of alignment is why it's so important for Robert Saleh to have physical edge rushers. Okay? Got to have physical defensive ends in this defense because of what is required of them. That is why I'm not as bullish on a guy like David Bailey in the draft, because I don't think that Bailey can actually hold up as a defensive end and set the edge properly at the NFL level, even if he improved in that realm in his final year at Texas Tech. But look how this defensive end sets the edge. And he had guys like Clelin Ferrell, Sam Okwe-Anonu, some other options as well that are just slipping my mind right now because I'm trying to remember San Francisco's defense so much. But a ton of big body. They had Michael Williams, the rookie early in the year, who was a big physical edge setter at Georgia. But here you go. Watch the defensive end over there against this wide zone run. classic wide zone from the Cleveland Browns, you have to set a firm edge. I'm going to go back to a Mike Vrabalism here. Edge, wall, swarm. That's what Mike Vrabel used to teach with run defense. You set a firm edge, you wall up in the interior, and then everyone swarms to the ball. That is how you play run defense right there. And the first part of that is edge. You have to set a firm edge to turn the guy back inside to the rest of your defense. So having physical edge rushers on the outside that can set a physical edge in the run game is critical in this defense. Now, another one more important than the play result, I just want to show you some traits that they're looking for. So in this defense, because there are typically 4-man fronts like you see right here, the linebackers have to be able to shoot the gaps. Remember, we talked about how wide Robert Saleh wants his fronts. And the reason for that is it spreads out the offensive line, creating more gaps for your, defensive linemen to penetrate through, or more importantly, your linebackers to fire through. This isn't a sit and wait, stack and shed type of defense. Robert Saleh wants his linebackers to get downhill and bust some ass, okay? And that's exactly what we see here from number 53. Boom. Shoots the gap straight through, makes the play on the running back. Look at the hole. Look at the hole. Bam. Flying through. Got him. Downhill attacking linebackers in this defense. Here's another example of big nickel without the overhang linebacker on the edge. Wide edges. Wide edges right here, okay? Then you have your Will linebacker, your Mike linebacker, and here is your big nickel. This is Jair Brown, who is a safety. So you have Pinnock right here, you have another safety right here, and then you have Jair Brown right here, who's basically functioning as a linebacker. And just a little off note for you, this is why Nick Emanwari has been so valuable to the Seattle Seahawks defense, because he's been able to function in this role all year long. Jalen Petrie for the Houston Texans as well. This is very common around the NFL because when you have 3 safeties on the field, you're going to be, in theory, better in pass coverage. But if you have a physical safety who can function as a linebacker in the big nickel role, well, now you're basically just as good as a 4-3 base defense, but with the advantage of being able to play against the pass. And I am looking at this role, the big nickel role, Kevin Winston. Kevin Winston's about to go nuts in this defense. But again, when you run a defense like this, you need penetrating linebackers, penetrating defensive linemen, and your big nickel needs to be a good blitzer who is willing to be physical and get upfield. And that's what we see here as Pete Warner, 54, swims past the lineman, gets upfield. The defensive line gets upfield, edge gets upfield. The nickel swims past and gets upfield as well, pushes him out where number 2 is waiting to make a play. 94 does a good job of getting out there. He gets beat to the edge, but he pushes him out so far that by that time, it doesn't really matter. Like, he got beat to the outside contain, but that, pushing him back that far deep, I mean, think about how far back he is from the line of scrimmage at that point. The ball is on, this line right here, and he ends up forcing him way back from that. So think about where he's at right now. I mean, we're talking about, 5 yards deep behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, if you want to beat me on contained so bad that you're going to go 5-6 yards back in the backfield, sure, whatever. We're going to get to you in time. Pete Warner, man. All right, here we go. Classic 4-3 alignment right here. You have your 4 down linemen. You have your Will. You have your Mike. You have your Sam right here. You could slide the defensive line this way and put him down on the line of scrimmage if you wanted a 5-man front. You can keep it the way it is for a 4-man front right there. I've been running a defense like this in Madden since I was literally in middle school. I used to get Anthony Barr as a guy that could play on the edge and rush the passer or stand up as a linebacker. I've always loved those type of players because of what it means with the multiplicity in your front and your scheme. But I want to point out something specific here because a lot of teams are running power runs, okay, where they have pullers, they're doing down blocks, and when that happens, you have to squeeze down to ruin the space that's going to be there from the kick out pull. And that's what happens with Bryce Huff right there. He squeezes down to take away the lane from the puller and meet him in the hole. Do you see how he took that little slight move inside? Look at it. Slide in. Because they know the tight end being right here, dead giveaway that they're running GH power, which guard, H-back. Dead giveaway how far he is off the line of scrimmage, that he's coming back the other way. Dead giveaway right there. And I'm sure Robert Saleh talked to them on tape. That's why they shifted the line. And that's why, boom, you see 47 darts in because he wants to meet the puller right here on GH counter and eliminate the space. Eliminate this. And look at the penetration. Again, you need defensive linemen who can penetrate quickly in this scheme. Shoot the gap. Defensive end crashes down, and this is called a squeeze and scrape, or some people just call it like a scrape exchange is what people will call it. But this guy's responsible for this gap. This guy's responsible for this gap. But if this guy is slamming down into this gap, that means that this linebacker has to scrape outside and take this gap. This is a common technique that you see against quarterback run, like read option stuff, like Lamar Jackson. The Titans utilized this a ton when they beat the Ravens in the playoffs in 2019. But you see it as well as teams are trying to defend the more power runs that we're seeing in the NFL the last couple of years. You guys are learning all kinds of stuff today. Not even just about, Robert Saleh's defense, about the NFL and how defense works. You know what I mean? Thank me later. Bam. Defensive end squeezes in, penetrating defensive lineman. But again, this linebacker scrapes outside to take away the C gap. Titans fans, I hope you guys enjoyed that film breakdown, extensive film breakdown on Robert Saleh's defensive scheme. Remember, I just did a breakdown last week on Brian Daboll's offensive scheme and how the Titans players fit within that, so check that out if you missed it. I have a ton of content planned for you guys with free agency, the draft. We're going to do some yearly reviews on players on the Titans' current roster like J.C. Latham, Cedric Gray, Cam Ward, Gunnar Helm, Jeffrey Simmons. So much coming here on the channel. Again, if you want to be the smartest, most intelligent, and most ball-knowing Tennessee Titans fan that you could possibly be, you got to get subscribed, stay subscribed to the Tic Tac Titans film channel. But before I go, remember, make sure that you throw a thumbs up on the video, throw a Titan up down in the chat. I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and as I tell you, every single episode, tighten up.